Band directors have a big influence on the young horn players today of how they start, the ability to play efficiently, because the horn is, and I will demonstrate, rather large, and I'm not very tall. And if you sit there and do this, you're going to end up playing with very bad posture. But it's not only posture, it's lung capacity that gets involved. So the more you get like this, the shorter your right lung becomes. So to stay efficient as a young horn player, I feel like if they just stand up and hold the horn, it's not that heavy, And if it's, I've said to a couple students, if you think it's heavy, go ahead and give me some dips. And they'll just look at me. Or give me some push-ups. So I had my whole horn studio doing planks the other day in class. And they kind of laugh at me. I said, you have to have the strength to hold up the horn in a Wagner opera. It's a long time to play. But honestly, if you stand up and hold it, it should just be sitting in your hands. You don't have to hold the horn. It can be sitting in your bones. Just like if you're taking a long hike, you're not going to keep your quads engaged. You're going to let the bones do the work. So let the bones do the work. But the other aspect is, what do you do with your right hand? And we have the ability to, and in music for the horn, you have to have the Gestalt. So you have to have a hand position that you can play all these different colors that composers have written for. But the most important thing is to have it in the bell properly and to help you hold the instrument. If you go back to the natural horn, that's how they got all the different notes. So if you use that technique of, I'm going to put my sleeve up here, kind of being able to close it off to get the right note, then that's sort of the right hand position. The other part that most band directors wouldn't think about would be actual acoustics. Because if you use the wrong hand position, if you're in too far, if you're out too far, it's not going to help your intonation, but it's the acoustics. Because if you use the right hand position, you should be able to hear in the sound. And if I have my hand out too far, you don't hear that. If I have my hand in too close, it goes away. But if I have it just in the right spot for me, my hand size, my bell size, you can hear that upper harmonic ring. And it works really well against the wall. But it's important. And I think you find that a lot of horn players think it's too heavy. And so they sit it, because it's too heavy and then their hand doesn't do anything. It's just kind of stuck in there. And that's the first thing I do when I get a new student. Well, let's see what you're doing with your right hand, And so I shake their hand. And I said, okay, now let's pretend you have about a tablespoon of water in your hand. And we're going to dump it out. Oh, pretty good hand position. Okay, just let's put your hand on the bell. And they're always amazed that it actually works. That it's nothing terribly, terribly confusing. But you do need to use it. You can't just let it sit around the bell somewhere.